From the Superbook.com sports desk, I'm Robert Walsh. What's going on? Cameron Dicker made a 43-yard field goal with 4 seconds remaining to lift the Los Angeles Chargers to a 17-14 win over the Tennessee Titans on Sunday at SoFi Stadium. The Titans had a tie game with 48 seconds remaining after Ryan Tannehill scored on a 1-yard sneak. But the Chargers responded by going 52 yards on 6 plays, including a 35-yard reception by a leaping Mike Williams between 2 defenders that helped to get set for their game-winning kick. The Titans' defense played valiantly, but forcing 2 Justin Herbert interceptions was not enough. Meanwhile, Derrick Henry had 104 yards rushing with a touchdown and 59 yards receiving. Henry eclipsed the 8,000-yard rushing mark for the first time in his career. I guess you would have to, because that is his career. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Welcome into 2 hours of therapy sessions. Hang in there, everybody. Oh, Blaine says no therapy. We going to get people fired up? Maybe getting you fired. Maybe you don't need therapy. Maybe you just need to call in and yell. We'll let you yell. Don't use dirty words.
Well, that is considered therapy. Get
Get
it off your chest.
Just call in and yell. Don't use dirty words, and we'll be fine. 615-737.
No foul language here. Mickey, he'll cut you off.
Well, we got the dump button, what I call the Omega 13. We could hit that. Tyler's already resorted to this. Blaine, how much would it take to get you back in the two-tone blue because they need you?
Oh, man.
That's a lead-off comment here in the Zone
I
TV show.
would do great standing there with the coaching uniform on. But as far as playing right now, man, shoot, Eckler would have ran right through me like I didn't exist right now. So I don't think I could help you guys at this point in time. But I appreciate that. But, man, what a tough call. And, by the way, the defense, considering who were out there and who they were playing, man, I thought they played outstanding. It's unfortunate maybe got set there and had to make a play on the ball against Mike Williams there. I wish he would have peeked back a little bit. He had time, but I get it. You're always a little nervous to look back and that ball zips right by you. But, man, this one hurts really deep. And the offense, I was just reading the stats here for the wide receivers, which I thought was going to be a major factor in determining if they win or lose. And Woods with 12 yards on 2 catches, 4 targets, and Conley with 3 targets, 3 catches, and 19 yards. The leading receiver naturally was Henry with 59, 4 for 4 on the screens, and Okonkwo with 54 on 4 or 5. And Hooper came up in third with 33. So I really believe that, and it was interesting hearing Kevin Byard talk. And I think this is what I was referring to, games earlier back in the day, probably third game when they were actually winning games, or, third or fourth, fifth, sixth game or so, where I was saying at some point the other side's going to have to carry you, not the defense. And now the defense, is kind of sputtered the last 2 weeks, and then they showed really well yesterday. And the offense sputtered, and they got to get some more playmakers on the outside. I mean, I've never seen an NFL game where you see numbers like that, unless the running back has gone crazy running the football. So they have no playmakers besides Chig, really, and that Henry, of course. I mean, Hooper is a contributor, right, but we got to have the outside receivers, NWI, Woods, and Conley, or whoever's out there. They got to contribute more than that. And I was concerned that because the Chargers secondary played well versus the Dolphins, so that gave us a good taste against Waddle and Tyreek Hill, who are one of the 2 most explosive players in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. And not to say they didn't get off, but I'm like, well, we're nowhere near them. So where are we going to stack up? And I mean, they kind of in this world, to me, they kind of shut them down. I mean, Tyreek Hill ran that one that he ran around, he did a fumble recovery, but I'm talking about pass receiving, man. So I think that was tough. We could start off with Tannehill showed some grit, some grind, some toughness that even I thought he was done for the game. I really did. When they showed the replay, I was like, that one there. I don't care if it was good ankle, bad ankle. That was a tough one there. So With that being said, I'm interested that he's going to play this week. And, oh, by the way, Malik Willis, when he got into the game, even though I know for a short stint of time, I would have loved to see more. This was the first time his body language, and when I say that, I'm talking about the quarterback, where he was very decisive in his decisions.
Yep.
Even the one he ran the ball. That guy screwed on, that's my ding-dong on that throw. But, the referee called grounding when it was a offside. Was it offside penalty? What was
Offsides.
it? Yeah, and then he threw a goal and the guy ran a curl or whatever it was. Yeah, that was horrible by the referee, and he should get fined for that. But, I was interested and curious to see more. It's the first time. So that shows he's putting the work in on the scout team, because I don't know how many reps he's getting. I'm sure he's getting a little bit because, Tannehill's been, banged up. But, yeah, so I would assume that I'm making a guess that he's going to start, it's a Saturday game, right? Maybe wrong. It's a Saturday game.
It is.
So, start a week. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Malik Willis only because of injury. He was decisive. Tannehill still, I thought, even though he threw a pick, I thought he played solid considering 15 for 22, but still the high school stats of 165. I mean, what are we running here? I know everybody's going to be upset about the 3rd and 2 call, not giving the ball to the King, who was, I think they were in shotgun, weren't they? He was right next to him. So that was kind of interesting call. I did not like the call. I thought he was going to be in shotgun, and then they were going to give him the ball. I didn't know they were going to throw the ball. But sometimes, coaches, especially play callers, kind of overthink things sometimes. Like if he would have ran the ball, everybody would be like, why did he run up the middle? Everybody knew, so you can't win either way. And you were trying to catch him off guard, and then he ran a quick out or someone to Woods. I think, Sante Samuel made a great play. He didn't feel threatened deep, so he sat there. That was man-to-man. I watched it and showed the replay. I was like, oh, my gosh. Man, see, that's what I get. When DB starts saying, hey, man, these dudes aren't running any deep routes. They're not going to, run by us. If not, they're not going to have time to protect to throw it. Mm-hmm. So it was just that kind of game, real disheartening game after the great effort by the defense. But I think those are the things that kind of stood out. The defensive effort, Tannehill's toughness. They kept the game close. The defense, what were they, 4 for 13, I think, against the Chargers. So they got a couple picks. Great play by McCrary. Wow, I think some people said he saw it in the SEC. Somebody did that last year when he was in college. I can't remember who it was. Was it Alabama? Maybe it was Auburn. But so yeah, that was, that was pretty much it. I mean, not a lot there. Byard got a pick, but the injuries keep stacking up too. By the way, that is glaring in this game, even the backups. And oh, by the way, we still could have won the game if Bullock would have hit the 51-yarder. Yeah, or tied anyway. So you should have saw Vrabel's face when he missed that. Did you see his face? He gave it like the Rock. His version of the Rock looked like, "Are you effing kidding me? Kidding me?" I mean, it was clear as day. So yeah, that's it. 4 straight losses, first time in Vrabel's tenure as a head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Nothing really. Pretty much. And Eddie did no huddle in the offense, but really not too much anything in the second half. Starts with the O-line. Starts the line. Dylan Radins made an appearance. Looked like he was going to be okay. We don't know the body of work, but I think they said he injured his knee or something. I don't know the extent of it by any means, but he looked okay from what I saw, and I intently went back to watch him. That's it. And, I can't say that he played bad. He looked like he was okay. Petit Frere, he did not have a good day either. One time he did a quick pass there. Was that him or Daly? I can't remember. He ran out to the guy, and it was a pass. I'm like, you're supposed to shuffle back. What are you doing? I'm like, dang, did he get mixed up on the call? Yeah, so that was so there's some things need to be fixed. Critical penalties at the wrong time. False start to Holden or whatever they want to call it. They only have 6 for 62, but they came at bad time. And we cannot overcome any 10-yard penalty. That's just not happening. Yeah, so that's it. That's my soapbox. I'm a little perturbed because I'm afraid that the Titans are going backwards. And they playing the Texans, but man, the Texans have nothing to lose, and we're all beat up. We're talking about Malik Willis may play with this line and maybe a better situation because Malik Willis can run around and maneuver with Tannehill's ankle bothering him. So that may be a good thing if you have to start passing. May not have to pass it also. Gets to Texas. I don't know where they're at, but they seem to they're in games now.
Yeah.
They almost beat the Chiefs, so they're
Almost
in
beat
games.
the
So they're
Cowboys.
still fighting.
Yeah.
To win games. So they haven't given up on Lovey, even though I think Lovey's not going to have any love after this season. I think he's going to be canceled out there. It's 2 years in a row, but two different coaches. But, yeah, so, yeah, I think there's a lot of questions here, but can you answer any of them because of the injury situation?
All I could keep thinking of, and I was kind of writing in my notes, after the draft, after all the injuries, after all the misses, and then more and more and more injuries, they are just out of people. They just run out of people.
Well, I mean quality playing people. I mean, well, there's always going to be people.
Yeah.
Will it be people to help
Quality
you win games?
people, yeah.
Yeah, you know, to
on
win
defense, they held the Chargers to 17 points, Blaine,
it,
playing
which is remarkable.
backups to backups of backups.
Yeah. It was impressive what they were doing out there. I got to give it to them. With Keenan Allen, Eckler, and Mike Williams, those guys are elite players.
Palmer, I mean,
Palmer was making
they just
plays.
kept throwing 81, the other tight end who had missed a bunch of time.
And then Ever, too, at number 7.
Parham.
Yeah, I didn't know. Who the heck?
Well, that dude,
Okay,
he
man.
had some plays, too.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh. And meanwhile, I have the Titans receiver numbers as a group yesterday. You will be so discouraged when you hear them. And I will share them with you next. We will also do this. We'll do Ding Dong of the Week. David Boclair is going to join us in hour number 2 to try to sort some of this out. James is on the line. Jason, Kirk. Hey, if you're on the line, stay on the line. We will take phone calls next. We'll also do Ding Dong of the Week. Seems like there's several candidates for that from all over the place, including maybe the dumbest thing I've ever seen to end a football game with the Vikings, or not Vikings, with, well, the Colts could be Ding Dongs, the Patriots, the backwards lateral to Chandler Jones, who ran over Mac Jones.
Some people are trying to say that they didn't ask them to do that, like to throw it backwards and all that.
They didn't. The game was tied. Belichick was like, no, that was, no. He gave like a 3. No, that wasn't it.
Oh, man, that was my man. What's his name? Myers, a receiver. He's a good, solid player.
Yeah.
Myers may be tired.
He's a good, solid ding dong. We'll get to Ding Dong of the Weekend.
On
Your
the
phone
road
calls
again.
next. I'm Blaine and
Maybe
Mickey.
on the road again.
Santa Barkley is coming to town, and that's not terrible. He's delivering $20 million in gifts this holiday season to all FanDuel customers. How about it? Doesn't matter if you've been naughty or nice. Saint Chuck has something for everyone. Of course he does. Just check your FanDuel app for no sweat, same game parlays, bonuses, and all sorts of cool stuff that'll fill you with holiday cheer. And if you're new to FanDuel, this is a perfect time to sign up. Just remember to use the promo code Mickey when you do. That's Mickey, like the mouse, Mickey. Look, the app is simple. It's easy to use. They're always going to hook you up with great promotions like this. And when you win, you get paid instantly with FanDuel. So do yourself a favor. See why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Get in the holiday spirit, too, with $20 million in gifts from old Santa Charles Barkley himself. You'd have to be 21 or older, present in Tennessee. Price total dependent on customer participation. Wager requirements apply. Gifts awarded as non-withdrawable site credit or free bets. See FanDuel.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Ring a ding, ding, dong. We'll get to the ding dong of the week in just a minute. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. Or as we like to say, don't be a ding dong. Use Mark Spain. We'll get to the ding dongs in just a minute. Eric has the ding dong. We all have one. If you have one, jump in the Zone TV chat or on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey. You can also follow us on Twitter there. Just feel free to hit the follow button. We would love to have you follow us on Insta as well at Blaine and Mickey. Real simple, easy to remember that place. Just jump on there. But let's get to our callers. Eric, we'll get to you. If you've got a ding dong, get in line with your ding dong, and we will get to you as well. But first up, Jason, with a question for the Hitman. Hashtag Ask the Hitman.
Uh-oh.
What's going on, Jason?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I actually got a question for both of y'all.
Okay.
The first question for both of y'all, with the Niners concerned, if you got Brock starting and he's been doing so well, you clinched the NFC West, you're going into the playoffs, and now Jimmy is coming available. Do you put Jimmy in, or do you just let him continue to play? Because, you know, the old folks used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. So, and then my next question was specifically for Blaine. Do you see a player in the league that reminds you of yourself? Is there one player that just stands out? I just wanted to see what you had to say about that. Y'all have a blessed day. Merry Christmas.
Jason, thank you, man. Merry Christmas to you.
I'm sure there are a lot of them. Buda Baker, as well as the kid is injured now, tore his quad. Safety with the Seahawks from LSU. Was it the Jets? Jamal, I think
Adams.
Yeah, Jamal Adams. Yeah, I would say those two off the cuff. Probably if I looked into it. But yeah, as far as what was his other question?
When Jimmy G comes back, would you insert him back in, or would you keep Mr. Irrelevant rocking and rolling?
Oh, that's a tough one there, man, because that's playoffs. Whew. There is a side to me, and I'm not watching the film, so only they know if he's going through his progression read. It's always something like, let's just stay with the hot hand. Just stay with the hot hand. And guess what? Because you're setting up Jimmy G to fail, to be honest, because as soon as he doesn't go out there, they're going to say, Purdy could have done that. Well, just stay with the hot hand. I think Garoppolo was the type of guy. I don't think he has an ego, obviously, with Trey Lance and all that happened. So I think he's a good teammate. So I would go with Purdy and go with the hot hand, even though he doesn't have experience in the moment of playoffs. But I would be a real quick trigger if he made a mistake. I think that's how I would go. I think if I was guessing, I think he's winning over the team by his moxie and his confidence and his, the way he plays. I really do. So I think they're kind of rallying around him. Not to say they wouldn't Garoppolo, but it's kind of just, let's see how this goes and plays out. That's a tough call, though. That's a tough one, though, because most coaches are going to go back to their starter.
And there's a little bit of precedence in San Francisco, like different coaching staff, but look what they did with Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick going into the Super Bowl season with a lot higher aspirations on the line, where they stuck with Colin Kaepernick and did not go back to Alex Smith, and they ended up in the Super Bowl. Different coaching staff, but still a precedent.
That was Harbaugh. That was John Harbaugh.
Yep.
I'll give you guys the greatest precedent of all, and I'm going to sound like an Old Testament character here because it's so long ago. The 72 Dolphins, 50 years ago, the only undefeated team in NFL history, or modern NFL history. Bob Greasy got hurt early in the season. Earl Morrall started and won most of the games. He was the backup.
Oh, I don't even.
Greasy came in and played a tiny bit in their last regular season game, and then they started him in the playoffs.
You talking about 1952?
1972, 50 years ago. The 72 Dolphins, man. They went back to Greasy in the playoffs. He had broken his leg, I think, is what had knocked him out. That rascal, they didn't stick with Earl Morrall, who won all those regular season games. They went back to Bob Greasy.
Yeah, well, that's typically, but you're talking to different generations.
Yeah.
The thought process, I think, has changed and evolved, no different than play calling and everything else. That'd be an interesting call because some coaches would go back to the starter. I'm just telling you what I would do if I'm the coach. I'm kind of going to stick with the hot hand because here's why I say that. Why did I say Derrick Henry wasn't going to be Derrick Henry in the playoffs? Why did I say he wasn't? Because I said he was going to be rusty. Mm-hmm. That rust could cost you the game, right? The quarterback has the ball all the time, and one bad throw because he's rusty early in the game, that play could cost you the game when you look at the end of the game and the whole in totality of the game. So I'm going with the hot hand. That's why they should have started Foreman and not Derrick Henry last year. Because you can't miss 9 games and think you're going to come back and you're voila, like a genie, and you're right back where you left from the game. That's not how this game works, and no sport does. Michael Jordan, one of the best athletes of all time, missed and set out and played baseball, came back and was not the same player. Yeah. And really never got back to that. Gradually, he got better, but he wasn't the same player. So we're talking about within a season. That's hard to do. That's really hard to do, to be sharp. That's why I said Watson. He's not. These are practice games for him. You hope he gets better each and every game. Brissett is better than him right now. Mm-hmm. There's just no way around it. You miss games, you're not going to be the same guy. I said that about missing. You have a bye week. I said that first series, you're like, whoa, hey, whoa, let's slow this thing down. Yeah.
So that S in slow motion.
Yeah, so you got to get back into a rhythm and a flow. We're just talking about a bye week. No injury, a bye week. So, yeah, I would stick with the guy with the hot hand, especially if he's playing really well. I'm going to roll that thing all the way to the end. He may take us all the way to the Super Bowl. He stay hot. And then guess what I do? Oh, well, what's the name? Garoppolo's contract is up, right? But if Garoppolo's contract went up, I would use Purdy as a trade bait. See? Yeah, because I got 2 quarterbacks and they're under contract.
What'd you trade up for the other guy? Dang. Trey Lance. I mean, you got a lot invested in that, dude. We're not even talking about him.
When they go back in the next year, he got to be the starter. See, that's what I'm getting at. He's got to be the starter. And that's why you trade Purdy, because if he takes you all the way, the guy's going to be like, that's our dude. Yeah. Either that or you give him a new deal or you let Trey Lance sit on the bench making that money and you took him like top 5 pick. Oh, no. That will cause problems. Especially he's not Garoppolo. Garoppolo is kind of a mild-mannered veteran guy. Okay, I'll do whatever it needs to help the team. I think Trey Lance is like, man, I missed my turn. Now it's my turn. Because he's young and hungry, and I got to prove something. He still hasn't proved anything in this league. See? Mr. Irrelevant versus top 5 pick, or whatever he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I'm staying with Purdy.
GM Blaine, which it's funny, the old adage used to be, and the caller said, like in the old days, like you said, you didn't lose your job because of injury. When you were healthy, Bob Greasy.
But see, you never heard me say you left your job. I mean, you lost your job. No, I went with the hot hand.
Sure.
That's not losing your job. I'm staying with the guy who's hot right now, and I don't know if anybody could eclipse this. So let's ride it out. And it could flame out immediately in the first quarter, first half. And I'm going with Jimmy G. Mm-hmm. But I don't look at it as he took your spot, even though you're healthy. Let's just say you're not fully healthy yet, and we're going with the hot hand. Mm-hmm. That's how I'm going to roll with that. And I understand that, even if that would have happened to me. Yeah, you got to roll with the punches. He's hot. I haven't been playing. That's a lot of games Jimmy G's missed, too, by the way. It'll be, 8 games or so?
Oh, gosh, yes. I mean, it was, yeah.
I got to stay with Purdy.
Kirk in Nashville next on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. What you got, Kirk? Maybe some optimism here? Is that right?
Yes, I got to tell y'all something. Be careful what y'all put out there in the universe.
What's that?
Keep receipts. I'm letting you know right now, you remember this caller on this day, and make sure you call me back when it's playoff time. We will turn this around, and it will all come to right where we want it to be. It will come back. I know it's ugly right now. I know it hurts. But trust me, they will turn this around.
What makes you believe that?
I know this. I know this for a fact. We got our number 1 receiver coming back. We got a slew of injuries that are coming back on the defense. And we know what the Titans football is. We've seen it all year. It's not like we're expecting something we haven't seen. We've been watching this team. We know what they're capable of. And we know they have not been playing good football. But yet they still have a 1-game lead and control their own destiny.
Robert wants to know what the winning lottery numbers are since you're seeing the future.
I'm concerned with the old line.
I'll let you know first week of the playoffs.
All right, great. Thank you.
Hey, that's good, though. How's that? I think he needs to go talk to Byard. I don't think he was feeling the same way.
He was hot yesterday.
And it's probably Byard's first time losing 4 games in a row. It's hard to deal with, especially right after a game. Boy, you're still perturbed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch of people coming up with a lot of players they stuck with. Kerry Collins, Kenny Britt, or different players that with the Titans that once they got hot, they I think that's what they were referring to. Now it's gone.
Eric has a ding dong call. Let's get into the ding dongs right here, right quick. Mark in Clarksville, hold on. But Eric, up with our first Mark Spain ding dong of the week call. What's going on, Eric?
Hey, guys, I've got 2 ding-dongs, but also real quick, guys, talk about winning money on winning betting in the NFL. One guy won big and one guy lost big. On that Raiders game where the guy scored a touchdown, he went from winning $31,000 to over $2 million with that crazy Raiders game. Yeah, I heard that this morning. And there was also an individual who lost over $200,000 with 3 teams involved: the Colts, the Cowboys, and the Buccaneers, who blew huge leads. And because of that, that cost this guy $200,000. So that goes to the crazy big way of betting in the NFL. But guys, my 2 ding-dongs are this. First one goes to Bills Mafia fans for throwing snowballs Saturday night in the game between the Bills and the Dolphins. You just can't do that, guys. It's just crazy.
I got warned, Eric. Warned.
I loved
Don't
it.
do that.
I loved it. Once they gave him the warning sign, they stopped, didn't they?
Yeah, I guess.
Really.
But my other ding dong, guys, has to go to New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh, whose pitiful clock management. He had 3 timeouts, didn't call his first one until 19 seconds left to go in the game. He wound up with 1 timeout in his pocket trying to kick a 58-yard field goal. That's pathetic. You should have managed that better, and you deserve to lose when you do that, guys. So those are my 2 ding dongs. Guys, if I don't talk to you again, y'all have a Merry Christmas, and hope all the listeners have a Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you again soon.
No doubt. Same to you.
Merry Christmas to you,
Yeah.
Mr. Eric.
Oh, okay. We ready for the ding dong?
Let's do the ding dongs. We got more. We'll get back to the phones. Ding dongs. Robert, you want to lead us off in the ding dong segment?
I will. And I'm going to take a playbook out of Eric there with 2 ding dongs. I'm going to come in swinging 1 ding dong with the snowballs,
Watch out.
where they said, if a Bills fan throws a snowball, it will be a penalty on the Bills.
Yes, they did.
Right.
If I'm a Dolphins fan there, I'm going to wait till a big 3rd down, and I will get thrown out for my team. I'm going to throw a snowball. They ain't going to know where it came from. I'm going to get a penalty on the Bills, Dolphins 1st down, maybe we win the game. If they would have had more fans on their team like that, some real ride or dies, maybe the Dolphins would have beat the Buffalo Bills.
I would have thrown it right at the official if I was a Dolphins fan. I would have tried to have hit the official just to make sure I got my point across.
There you go. See, it's just gamesmanship, in my opinion. If they give you something like that, you got to take the gift.
Ooh,
I agree.
Now, how would you facilitate how you would throw it as a player onto the referee? Because you know they got cameras all around, and you saw that thing, even with all that bad weather, they had that thing zooming all over the top of that. I'm like, man, they would catch me on camera that I threw it.
I'll
even
take
if I was sitting on the bench.
I'll take a
not
charge
players,
for my team.
fans.
No, well, he's talking about hit the referee. You wanted the fans to hit the referee?
I want the I'm just saying the Dolphins fans.
But he wanted the Dolphins guys to agitate him, though, right?
Yeah, for sure. I would have definitely got a ball. I would have, but I
So
would
you're
take
talking
a
about
charge
the
for my
Dolphins
team.
fans that were there.
Yeah, I would have been like, all I got to do is throw a snowball and get a penalty on the other team. I'm going to make a big one and throw it and hit the
But they
official.
were still throwing them.
Yeah,
It just wasn't
they
as
were.
many. It just wasn't as many.
But my actual ding dong, I don't know if you guys have seen this audio. Giovanni Bernard was swarmed after the Bucks blew a 17-0 lead.
Oof.
And I don't know how you guys feel about this, because as a member of the media, I've only been in college locker rooms. But I know in college locker rooms after a loss, things are very delicate, especially after a big loss like that. Who's at fault here? Is anyone at fault here? I'm leaning on the her name's Jenna from ESPN. She posted this audio. I'll play you the beginning of it. And I think they were just a little too rough around the edges when dealing with Gio immediately following a loss.
Well, you were injured all year.
What have you done for us to talk to you about all year? I talked to you Tuesday. Just don't say you're not talking because I didn't talk to you all year.
You were also injured most of the season too.
Relax.
Can I go to my family that I have outside? And
You
all of a
can.
sudden-
They swarmed him. It's a long clip. I don't want to play the whole thing for you, but they swarmed him saying, well, we haven't had a chance to talk to you. You've been hurt. What have you done for us to talk to you? To come at a guy like that after a loss where he made a mistake, playing a big part in it, I think that's just a bad look. I'm going to have to give Jenna my ding-dong.
You giving
Stop. Jenna Lane, Bucks reporter.
Jenna?
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
she's one of the OGs. She's been around a long time, too.
Oh, my.
She's been around a minute.
Oh, my. Who's the clown?
How do you guys feel about that, though? Like, I think there should have been a little more tact in the situation than to come in and just be upset for him not being available or making himself available.
Yeah, that's a tough one there for me, because I didn't hear the whole entire interview, because he said, well, dang, can I go out here and talk to my family? I'm like, well, wait a minute. Now, you're supposed to talk to the media first before you go see your family, right? So there was some hesitation there from him from the jump. But, what he should have done, I thought he should have just owned it. And, in your mistake, I really still thought the media was really aggressive.
When they finally do let him talk, he does say it was all on me. It was a communication mess up on his part. It was all me. He does accept it. Maybe you would have got a better answer out of him if you didn't come in like a big jerk.
Right, probably.
Agreed. And that's tough. I mean, I remember being in the locker room in Kansas City and having to go around and talk to guys when the Titans lost that opportunity to go on and play for the AFC Championship the next week. And, you walk up to a guy's locker and his season's over and he was making plans on playing for, championship, and then it's all just gone. It's hard because you want to ask questions and, hey, that third down play, what went wrong? But you do have to show some tact. I mean, these are people. I mean, they're people. People lose sight sometimes that these are people. They hurt. I mean, they make mistakes at work, just like we all do. I'll make 100 mistakes during the show today. We just all see a mistake that they make, or if we perceive that they made a mistake or whatever it is. But, my first radio job, I think, was in 1989. I've always tried to remember this is a person. Show some tact. I mean, sometimes you have to ask a hard question, but you can do it in a way where you're not just showing up the guy like they were doing. You're not even here, to Bernard.
You're already. I mean, I hate.
You're
losing,
not even practicing. You're not here.
I hate losing board games, let alone losing like a professional NFL game.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes and stick their mind. Hey, you've been hurt all year. I want to talk to you. Get over here,
Right.
Giovanni Bernard.
Well, some people are saying A.J. Brown's 9 catches for 180 as J-Rob continues to be a ding-dong. RG Phoenix, man. That was a good one there. That was
He gives a weekly ding-dong to J-Rob, he said.
This was an interesting one here. Tyler Dowell said that the referee told Terry McLaurin, high school, same high school as me, that was lined up right. He was lined up right and immediately threw a flag calling him offsides before the play started. What the heck? Because he said he bamboozled him?
Yes.
What the? I did not see that. Yeah, I do like the. Do you like the? I know you're a big jersey guy. Do you like the maroon on maroon? I do. You don't like it?
I like all the same color on college teams. I don't like it on pro teams.
So you don't like the black on black when they did it at the Commanders? They did it earlier this season. I was like, what team is that? I thought it was a college team.
You didn't even know who it was.
I didn't.
The
I did
Command
not.
Skins. Same thing.
Yeah, you see.
And some people are like, oh, that's all black. That's always cool. They're the Washington Command Skins.
Yeah, I thought
they
it
have
was
the
cool.
most unique color scheme, one of them in the whole NFL, and they were all black.
Right, that was their color rush.
And I'm a musician.
Making up stuff now.
For 20 years of my life, I wore only black. I got married in all black. Ask my wife. That's a true thing that happened. I'm a fan of all black, but not for the Command Skins.
Oh, wow.
On that Terry McLaurin thing, sorry to keep butting in here,
Yeah,
but
right.
it's funny because the announcers were saying at the end of the game, they don't want to throw that flag on the pass interference because it's such a big moment in the game. They don't want to bring the referees into a big moment, and yet they throw that improper procedure flag on our guy on the Command Skins on a touchdown play.
Yeah, Tyler said it was at the end of the game, Blaine. Terry lined up and pointed to the ref to make sure he was good and said the ref told him he's good, and then he threw the flag as soon as the ball got snapped.
Good, man. He should have, yeah, I'm going to tell you what he should have done. Threw that flag right at that referee.
It negated the touchdown they scored, backed them up 5
man?
yards. Then the refs missed an egregious PI call on 4th down that cost Washington that game.
Well, that leads me to my ding-dong on the intentional grounding by Malik Willis on a play that didn't even count. They were offsides. He threw a goal route. The guy ran like a curl or something. They called intentional grounding. I could not believe it. If I wasn't at a public location, they would have saw the best of me throwing something at that TV. Good Lord. I was like, what? I was stunned for a minute. I paused, and I was like, that can't be true. I'm like, man, he not only should he get fined, they should say, man, we're going to put you on suspension. That was suspension worthy. Or fine.
You have to understand
it's a tough job already, but
Yes.
that was egregious. Almost like, hey man, do you have money on this game? Dude, you can't call that.
I agree with you.
Man, I mean, he could have ran the wrong route. I've seen that 50 billion times.
Sure. Understand the intent of what he's doing. It's a free play, and he thinks this guy's about to go deep. No? Cut the route off. Oh, that's grounding.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people going to say, I haven't seen on the chat or nobody's called in, but Todd Downing for the 3rd and 2, and he throw the ball and not give it to Derrick Henry, who was on the field, by the way.
Well, once he wasn't and once he was. They had 2 3rd and 2s. Yeah, but
they did. But he was trying to trick them.
boy, that didn't trick nobody.
Hey, man, he was
To a
trying
completely
trick 'em,
covered Robert Woods on one, and then the other one, I think they tried to throw to Chig.
man. Oh,
Derek wasn't on the field for that play.
No, he was not.
Mine was low-hanging fruit here for my ding-dong, but Jacoby Myers, just the backwards lateral. He owned it after the game, but the game was tied. They didn't have to score. It would have gone to overtime. He throws a ball basically 30 yards backwards right to Chandler Jones, who catches it, just trucks Mac Jones and scores, which we found out that had a very negative effect on some people's betting lines. But, just a rough way to – people are calling that the dumbest way to end a game in NFL history. Ooh. And the Miracle in the Meadowlands, Google that one, kids, that involved Herman Edwards. This was before people started kneeling on the ball. The Giants just needed to run out the clock and tried to run a play. And Joe Pisarcik tried to hand the ball to Larry Zonko, who was like, I'm not taking the ball here. Ball bink, bink, bounces. Herman Edwards of the Eagles is just standing there waiting for the game to end. The ball bounces to him. He runs in, and the Eagles beat the Giants. Miracle in the Meadowlands. This may have taken the place of that as dumbest.
Oh, no. Leon Lett?
Oh, Leon.
Oh, no. That
Thanksgiving Day, an ice storm.
Oh, no.
All right, William in Vegas has a ding-dong. Mark in Clarksville has a call. We'll get to those next. We'll keep this party started and keep it going on Blaine and Mickey.
Cool Ray Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical is your place for whole home generators. And Cool Ray's Homewell whole home generators assure your lights stay on throughout Tennessee storms and this horrific weather. Cold weather, by the way. And with the holiday guests, make sure your home stays perfect for all the holiday activities, including keeping the holiday lights on and running. And Cool Ray Comfort Consultants will help design the perfect whole home generator system for your home. Plus, save up to $1,500 off a Honeywell whole home generator today. So schedule a free whole home generator estimate today by calling Cool Ray Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical at 629-600-2665. That's 629-600-2665, or schedule it online at coolray.com.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. William in Vegas, calling all the way from Vegas with a ding-dong. William, thank you for checking in on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline.
You gambled away your ding-dong?
Yeah. Did you lose any money on any of these crazy games yesterday, William?
Well, actually, at the game, so I lost money there. Going to the game. So I'm driving back now. But I do have a request for Ding Dong. I was wondering if you could change it. Since it starts with 2 D's, can you change it to Daly and Downing?
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure all the fans, and I'm sure this may possibly happen, that double D's may not be here in Tennessee after the season.
In 2023.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Hey, way to help.
That's my
help
job
me
is to
out.
just come up with things that rhyme. What are we doing?
I was trying to be the Mickey right there. I couldn't do it. I did not like the flow and the rhythm they were calling plays on offense. This was the first time it was kind of I didn't feel like there was any rhythm to any of it. Now some of it was because there were penalties, but they can't hit the panic button every time they get a penalty and like, oh crap, I know, the team isn't good enough to overcome the penalty. You got to find a way. You can't like, oh my, I don't know what, grab bag and start calling plays that you know probably aren't going to work. So yeah, I was a little disappointed in that there. Yeah, that was tough. Yeah, that one there was maybe go, if they keep going under them, they keep losing. It could be a point where Amy says, Downing, got to go.
Yeah.
And then Ray will go, no can do, or will can do. See? Yeah, because that's kind of what they did with Malarkey.
Yep.
With Robitsky.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, nah, I already had your decision made up anyway, so I'm out. He didn't say it like that. But
that was wild. Mark in Clarksville will wrap us up for this first of the 2 hours. That is Blaine and Mickey. Mark in Clarksville, what's going on, man? What you got for us?
Gentlemen, how we doing?
We're
doing great,
awesome, man.
I got a statement and I got a question. Statement is, Blaine, you are the first person of sports journalist or sports talking head I've heard that said that the Titans should have went with performance last year in the playoffs. I've been telling my friends that Henry was cold. He didn't have that tough skin on him. And thank you for agreeing with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I said it last year going into the game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've been very consistent with that. Yeah, I didn't waver at any time because as a player, you can't miss games and think you're going to come back at the same level you were, whatever injury you're coming back from, because of the speed of the game. And it was a playoff game. So it ratchets up the speed of the game, even turns over even faster. So you're going to be a little rusty early on. So that's why I said I would have started Foreman. And that's not to say you get, Henry in there quickly, maybe even the second play. But I'm riding with the guy who's sharp and on top of his game instead of maybe after 10 carries, Henry then gets the rust off.
Right. He was 4 for 66 in that game.
Yeah, I was pretty consistent on that one. But everybody was laughing at me when I was saying that, though. Everybody disagreed with me. They, except Mickey. Yeah.
Thank you for the phone call, Mark.
And I love Derrick Henry, too, but it just the magnitude of missing games and reads and cuts and to be sharp and quick just like that, you can't duplicate that in practice. I think he practiced, 2 weeks or so? 2 or 3 weeks.
He did.
Because remember, there was a possibility he was going to play the last game.
And
remember, I said I wanted him to
let him play a few snaps and get the rust off.
Yeah, yes. Some people going to say, well, a few plays, he's not going to get the rust off. Well, we get to see where he's at, though. We get to see where he's at. And that would have helped determine if I'm playing Foreman first.
You said that, and I quickly agreed with you. And that was another one where people were like, oh, you can't. That's guys.
Right,
that's
right.
so
and I
wrong.
get it. Well, is his name, is the money he's making. I get it. But guess what? I want to win. If I'm going to make a decision like that, you think I'm going to make a decision not to play my best player? Nah, I'm going to ease you in. That way the pressure won't be on you. It'll be on Foreman.
Yeah.
He's been out here playing, and he's been used to running behind this line and this group. So let's keep it rolling, and then I'll play you sporadically. If you get hot, hey, I'm going to leave you in there.
Yeah, they hitched their wagon to the wrong horse. It should have been Foreman.
Well, I mean, I get it, and I see how that decision is made all the time. And it is. Just like we were just talking about the quarterback. What did I say there? I'm going to ride the hot hand. I mean, I don't think Purdy's better than Garoppolo or Trey Lance, but He's hot.
Yeah.
You know where when I saw it, since you used the Dolphins in 1952, no, 72.
Only 50 years
What was
ago.
the year the Dolphins went to the Super Bowl and they played then the Skins with John Riggins, and they had David Woodley and Don Strock?
Woodstock.
Yeah. And who was the original starter? And they really went the other direction because they got hot at the end of the season. So I don't know if I want to say Strock was the starter, but I'm not sure.
Strock had also, oddly enough, been a Dolphins backup for a long time.
Yeah, right. He had been there. And then the Woodley was the
too.
younger player, and then he got hot at the end of the season. They kind of played with him, and then he kind of played more in a Super Bowl.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was kind of like, do two quarterbacks. So it's been done before, especially quarterback is always an interesting dynamic. Who's your leader? But if it's for a game or two that he missed or three, all right, I'm going back to my guy. But we're talking about, when you start getting to 5 and 6 games of missing playing time, I got to start thinking about that.
We got to think about getting to hour number 2 because we got David Boclair who's going to join us. Alvin in Nashville wants to talk Titans Chargers, and so do we. We'll do it next. We'll break it down good, bad, and ugly as the Titans went to L.A., and, boy, they played their hearts out on defense, especially just couldn't quite get over the hump. We got you next on Blaine and Mickey.
The Humpty Hump.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up? Welcome to hour number 2 of the program. 17-14, the Titans lost to the Chargers. Their 4th straight loss. It's first time of the Mike Vrabel era. First time since 2015, even with my feeble math skills. That was 7 years ago since we've seen something like this. Tannehill with a 1-yard quarterback sneak with 48 seconds remaining. The Titans kicked the extra point. I was honestly surprised they didn't go for 2. Mike Vrabel got asked about it today, and he essentially said if it had been a little bit later, I would have thought much harder about going for 2, but with the amount of time that was left, and unfortunately it turned out to be way too much time for Justin Herbert because they went 52 yards in 6 plays and kicked the game-winning field goal.
Whoa. He said if it's a little bit later.
You got it? Robert has it.
No, not. I'm analyzing what he's actually saying. If it's a little bit later, you don't need you don't think he can get down the field. You can kick the extra point. Oh, well, to tie, but to win it. Okay.
To go for 2. This is what Mike Vrabel said about this very thing earlier today.
Where the clock was, I think if it would have been down a little lower, then I probably would have. I figured that where it was then, they would have had a chance to kind of do what they did, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have no qualms with it. I know that takes you all the way back to the Chargers game in London, right? Was that London? Yeah, and where I didn't want them to go for 2 there. So I'm a little more conservative on that. I know this kind of changed with all the analytics and everything else. But I appreciate his analyzing why he didn't not go for it. But I wouldn't have went for it anyway.
The only thing I could think of was and he said I was worried they would have enough time to do what they did.
Yeah, right. Which was still, that's why he's saying the less time, they wouldn't have had time to do that as much. So, and they would have won by a point. Yeah, they would have got converted to 2 point.
Alvin in Nashville. He's been waiting through the break. Alvin. Let's just go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline and bring Alvin in as we continue this discussion. Hey, Alvin.
How y'all doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Good. I just want to hit on 3 topics. The first thing is I believe the defense did their job. The only player, and I'm not trying to call out a player, but Bud Dupree. When you make money like that, you have to be like T.J. Watt. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, like, you have to either get to the quarterback or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to disrupt it to the point where every play, when you make money like that, you know what I'm saying?
Alvin,
like,
in the pregame show yesterday, as we were wrapping it up, we always give like a player matchup we're watching. I said, the guy that I'm watching today is Bud Dupree. They desperately need him. We need to say his name like 10 times during the game. I'm there with you.
Yes, and the reason I say this is because I feel like when you make money like that, you see how the Titans have to chip for daily. They should have to chip for you, being that you should be getting paid that much. The second thing, do y'all remember that game? I want to say it was 2013 when T.J. Watt had a day against our tackles, and somebody got fired right after that game. Do y'all remember that year?
Yeah, Ken Wisenhunt was that guy. Yeah, I remember when the Wisenator got flushed. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm trying to figure out, what are we doing with our offensive coordinator? I mean, what are we doing? The third
that was
thing
against
I want
the
to
Texans.
say,
It wasn't TJ. It was JJ.
Yeah,
JJ.
Yeah. But TJ Watt, he had like 6 sacks that game. But the last thing I want to say was, Blaine Bishop, I have a question for you. I want you to put your GM hat on. The reason why I ask is because a lot of people on Facebook have been talking about this. A lot of people are mad because they're saying, man, don't get rid of Derek Henry, blah, blah, blah. I feel like you have to rebuild. And just going into the playoffs thinking that you can just pound the ball, and you have no pass play, you go against a Mahomes or somebody, they can get down the field with one play. We have got to rebuild. I hate to say it, we messed up Derrick Henry years, but if you was the GM, would you keep a Derrick Henry, a Bud Dupree, Caleb Farley, and going into next season? I'm going to hang up and listen. I appreciate y'all.
That was a whole lot, Alvin. We appreciate your insights.
Yeah, with the Dupree. Well, I was very opinionated on I wouldn't have signed Dupree. I said I wouldn't because he had tore his ACL in December, and they gave him that kind of money. I said I would have gave him a 1-year incentive lating deal, and then if he would have proved he was back from his ACL, then I would have gave him a big deal because he wasn't T.J. Watt, and he got T.J. Watt money. He was a good player, but, yeah, I wouldn't have done that. As far as GM had, I really love this question because I have thought about this already, and I think they're in a rebuild. And we put that question out last week on the poll question. I think everything is on the table as far as players that are the biggest commodities for trading. And so that would probably start with Tannehill because he's a quarterback. I don't know what the value would be for Derrick Henry, but he would definitely be on the table if this season went haywire, and just because he plays running back. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there'd probably be a couple teams interested in him. He only has 1 year left on his deal, so gotta look at that. And by the way, as much as I love Big Jeff, he would be a big commodity where I could get more commodity as far as draft picks. See, so those probably are my top three right there off the cuff. Now, it would hurt me. It would hurt my soul. But if I was rebuilding, I'm trying to time up where when we go into that stadium, we rocking and rolling. And I would probably go with Malik and see what he's got and develop. He's probably going to get to play the next game or so here, with Tannehill getting injured. You would think him continue to play on an injured ankle, that it's probably going to be tough sledding. So Malik will, if I was guessing, that I don't know, Tannehill may be out there in the short week on Saturday. So that's kind of how I would approach it as far as, trade bait. And, yeah, I would have never drafted a cornerback that had ACL and 2 back surgeries. That's just not going to happen. I want to win now more than saying, and the difference between me and a lot of these GMs are very successful at it is they're looking at the upside of an athlete that goes in the first round and he's so athletically gifted that he's so off the charts. But the one thing that they miss to me is, does it match up with what he looks like on film? And if it doesn't, when I see, let's just say a DB runs a 4.2 40, and then all of a sudden I go watch the tape and I see the 4.5 guy running by him. I'm like, well, he doesn't have game speed. So so I'm gonna match it up where the talent equals to production for me. So yeah, all those are, everybody's on the table as far as big time players, big money players. Yeah, all of that.
Well, and the question seems, much more. I don't know. The question was, are they closer to a Super Bowl or a rebuild? And that was a week ago. And they even look after what we saw yesterday. Boy, the defense played their hearts out.
They did. And you got to play the season out and see how they'll play, because we don't know what could happen to other teams as far as injury situations.
Sure.
As bad as it's been for the Titans. And so we could rise to the cream of the top. I mean, if, some guys get back healthy and they go out there and perform well and go right into the playoffs, they still have, 3 weeks to get it all together. So the only thing that scares me is the offensive line. They can't fix it. It is what it is. I mean, Brewer's really a center. He's an undersized guard. Daly probably should be on the practice squad, and not even a backup. So, yeah, then now, got Nate Davis hurt. So where are you going with that?
And Dylan Radins got hurt, who appeared in a handful of plays.
So woof. Malik, get your track shoes out. Because that's what I'm thinking, because Tannehill can't run anywhere. He can't run. That's what makes me also lean towards Malik may play this game because Tannehill can't run. And then we have 2 more injuries to the offensive line.
Right. Did you see Tannehill just trying to run those stretch plays and how hard it looked like it was for him to get to Derek on the stretch plays?
Yeah. If my grandmother was still living, she could have done a better job than that with no limp.
If you are going to run Malik, though, would you not give him the opportunity to get out on the edges?
Well, that wouldn't be the basis of it, but I would definitely do that.
I mean, at least
you got to be in the game plan, no question. That's given. But he showed me, and I wanted to see more, and I was really perturbed that Tannehill came back. I wanted to see one more series because I was like, he looked decisive in his decisions, even when something wasn't there. He looked like he's developing into a true quarterback. So I wanted to see more, and so I'm hoping I get to see it against the Texans, and I want to see how much they trust in him that he can get it done, because that could also lead them to their decision next year too as well. regardless of what happened. That don't mean that Tannehill won't come back and be the starter, at the end of the season going into the playoffs.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say hey, man, Tanny can't go. Malik, you're up. Got a whole week to get you ready. What if he goes out there and plays real well?
Yeah. I'd be excited, but I would slow play Tannehill's injury because you could always say, hey, you can be the backup and you watch Malik until you get healthy enough where we feel comfortable and you do to play. But he's going to have to play really well if you get into the playoffs and he has to be on a hot streak and they win like 3 in a row for me.
Yeah.
It goes with winning. So don't get confused. When I say hot means also they're winning when you're at the quarterback position.
Sure.
And you are being kind of the difference maker in why we're winning. That could possibly happen in this situation. Yeah.
And it's going to probably come down to this. Now, we don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. We don't. As Blaine said, anybody could have injuries. Any team can beat anybody. But as John Glennon pointed out Saturday night, and I know we got to take a break, Robert, but basically the bottom line is when the Colts lost, it only came between the Titans and the Jags. No matter what happens, how many games either one wins or loses, it's all going to come down to the last week when they play each other. So if you set Tannehill, let's say 2 weeks, and let him get completely healed up for that game, it also gives you a long look at Malik.
Yeah, I'm all in for Malik's, and if they end up tying, you said that the Titans win with the Jaguars. Titans win tiebreaker because it goes to the division.
If the Jags sweep them, they get it because they swept them. But if they have the same record against each other, 1-1, then the Titans win because they got a better divisional record, which goes back to what, again, you and Kevin Dyson have always said, you got to win your division games.
That's how you get in.
And that's how they would get in. We got to get into the next segment. David Boclair is going to join us. We will get his thoughts on what he has seen from these Tennessee Titans. That's coming up next on Blaine and Mickey.
How many nasty waiting rooms have you walked into while waiting on your vehicle repair? It's like you don't want to sit down or touch anything because there's grease all over the place. Well, at Eurofix, you'll find luxurious waiting rooms with all the internet connectivity and refreshments you need in a safe environment. And Eurofix fixes everything European with an ASE certified technician. And not all repair shops have ASE certified techs, so you better watch out and make sure you get an ASE certified technician working on your European vehicle. And Eurofix offers a nationwide 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty on all repairs and a free loaner card with those repairs. And you'll like this, no surprises. No work is done without your approval. And Eurofix also offers a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection, and you can drop in with no appointment necessary. A former youth pastor and starting out with just $50 in tools, owner Aaron Stokes and his team have been repairing European vehicles for over 2 decades now. So if you want the best to work on your European vehicle, all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, Monday through Friday, or you can just visit them online at myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine said y'all.
There were some great plays in the game, and there were some plays I'm sure they'd like to have back, but it was, they had it.
It was Caillou who made that play. Oh, no, my bad, Kalu.
David Boclair makes all the plays when it comes to covering the Titans for Sports Illustrated. He joins us now at Boclair Sports, all Titans on SI.com. David, I'll just start with this one. So somebody gives you $1,000 and they say, I'm going to fly you to Vegas and you have to put money down on who wins the AFC South. Who are you putting your $1,000? I'm going straight to it,
David.
David.
He's putting his money on you, Mickey's Money Makers.
Mickey's Money Makers. I mean, if you need some help, I'm all winners all the time. But who are you going to put your money on?
I'm putting my money on the Tennessee Titans.
Wow.
I mean, Jacksonville's a great story right now in the league. And Trevor Lawrence seems to finally be coming of age. But I think it's one thing to win some games in this league. I think it's another thing to win games when people are expecting you, or there's a need to, or there's a certain pressure. And I think the last 4 or 6 weeks, it's kind of been all fun and games for the Jags. Let's go out. Let's win some games. Let's ruin some other people's playoff hopes, whatever, this and that. But now all of a sudden there's a certain expectation on them, and yes, all 3 of their games are winnable for them. The Jets are a good team. I would say they're probably better than the Jaguars, but certainly not by much. The Texans, they certainly should win that one. They've already beaten the Titans, but for them to run the table here and finish with 5 straight wins, 6 in their last 7. That's a really, really tall order for a team that hasn't been together. It's not like this is a young bunch that has been growing up together. It's a third coaching staff in 3 years. It's they had all the free agents come in this year. I think what they're doing is they're sending the signal that they are going to be a handful next year. But I don't think the Titans are going to go waltzing into the playoffs. But I still think the Titans are the team to. They're gonna squeak this one out and then just see what they can do come playoff time.
All right, I'll follow it up with this. We all saw what happened to Ryan Tannehill. We've seen now 3 different ankle injuries, knowing it's the Texans on Christmas Eve and knowing literally it's probably going to come down to that last game against the Jags anyway. Would you tell Ryan Tannehill, stay off your feet this week? We are playing Malik Willis.
Yeah, I think I would. Mike Vrabel was asked about that today, and he was adamant and said if Ryan's healthy and Ryan can play, Ryan will be our quarterback. But he was also very complimentary of Malik Willis. Said that he thought Willis looked as prepared and as comfortable as he's been at any time this year, and the stats and the numbers and the Pro Football Focus grade, all sort of say the same thing. So I think they beat the Texans the first time with Malik Willis only having to throw 10 passes, and I think there's you can reasonably expect that you could probably do the same thing this time. And keep in mind, Tannehill showed a lot of toughness yesterday, came back in, finished that game, did all that. But I'm sure Blaine has probably talked about this or certainly can attest to it. It's one thing to be injured on Monday, or Sunday. You feel completely different on Monday. And Tannehill, when he first hurt the ankle against the Colts, remember he missed one play, I think, in that game. Finished that game, they beat the Colts, and then he couldn't play for the next 2 weeks. So, given the fact that it's that same ankle, and given the way Khalil Mack sort of rolled up on it on that tackle, I'd be hard-pressed to imagine that Tannehill is going to be able to play this week, or that he should play this week.
Yeah, David Boclair, our guest at Boclair Sports, all Titans, SI.com. Fantastic info and more from he and John Glennon there covering the team.
Well, David, I guess give us your overview or positive negatives in this Charger game that you felt really impacted the game.
Obviously the defense looked like the Titans' defense again, and that was really good news. But the bad side of it is this is exactly the kind of game that the Titans have won so often this year, and they didn't win it at a time when they really needed to. And I think that was if you saw the interviews from the locker room and whatnot, that there was for the first time you sort of saw a sense of dismay and frustration, if you will, from this team. And I think now it's in their head a little bit. They were sort of able to justify each of the losses in the first 3 games of this streak, and now it feels finally like a daunting thing that they have to overcome. And you have to say that the Texans are coming at exactly the right time, because if any team gives them reason to feel good about their chances and to flex their muscles a little bit, I think you'd have to say it's the Texans, given the way this series has gone the last few years.
What are your thoughts on? I heard a lot of questions there with Vrabel about just all the injuries, and now this is 2 years in a row. Kind of give us your viewpoint of what you think about them kind of being the leader of the forefront of all the NFL teams with all their injuries. Is it a stroke of just bad luck, or is every case his own individual case?
Yeah, it's hard to say, right? I mean, it hasn't been a lot of torn ACLs or things like we saw yesterday, where Tannehill's ankle gets turned under him under a tackle. It's been there's been hamstrings, and there's been groins, and there's been shoulders. The concussions. I guess there's nothing you can do about those, but there's enough of them that it's 2 years in a row that you have to think that they have to look at doing something different. And Mike Vrabel was asked about that today too, and he said, we've changed a lot of things over the last few years in terms of training camp and how they do practices and whatnot. And you wonder if it's not a sort of if it becomes a self-fulfilling process in a way, and that like he said, they can't really go full speed at practice. Certainly not every day during the week, and some weeks here not at all during the week. You have 3 days worth of jog throughs and whatnot, and you just have to wonder if the players aren't, their bodies aren't conditioned in such a way that they need that sort of that hard physical work during the week. And I'm not talking about fully padded tackling and whatnot, but bumping into some guys and running full speed and doing that. And if the inability to do that doesn't soften them up a little bit on Sunday to where they get a few more of these things along the way, because certainly it doesn't. I mean, it feels like it's too common. It's happening too often for this team for it to be just a fluke or a coincidence or something like that. There has to be something going on that's plaguing them in this way.
Well, speaking of flukes, I mean, Dylan Radin's fluke accident, he was out there. Not just kidding. He got out there and then got injured. And from the limited amount we saw, I mean, man, I was hoping, wow, man, let's see how he can continue this and be consistent throughout this game, if he could be. And we didn't even get to see that. I mean, man, he teased us there briefly with looking like he belonged.
Well, but think of it this way, though. Like my thought on that whole thing was, okay, you're dissatisfied with Dennis Daly at left tackle. You've got a 2021 second round pick. At some point you have to say, we drafted this guy in the second round for a reason. Let's just play him, right? I mean, if
what do you have to lose at this point, right?
That to me seemed to be the way to go. But instead they say, well, no, we decided going in we were going to play Daly in the first quarter, we were going to play Radins in the second quarter, and then we were going to see who was better and go from there. Which tells me, they're just not sold on Dylan Radins in any way, shape, or form. My guess was if it was even close, they would have stuck with Radins through the rest of the game and said, okay, we're gonna try and develop him there, and maybe he'll be our left tackle next year. But it felt to me that sort of like the thing that everybody says, if you have two starting quarterbacks on your team, you have none. And it sort of felt like yesterday, well, we've got two left tackles we're going to try, which means we really don't have one, because we just don't have confidence in either one of them right now to say, yeah, you're our guy, go play.
Well, just imagine if he would have played well, how would that reflected on the coaching staff?
It would have, yeah. I mean, it would have been that would have raised a lot of questions about why it hadn't happened sooner. That's for sure. But I mean, the simple answer would have been, well, Dylan Radins had been our number 3 guard through, the last however many weeks or the first however many weeks of the season, and I guess this sort of traces back to the whole John Robinson getting fired thing and holes in the roster and whatnot that coaches don't, they're the little Dutch boy trying to plug holes in the dike, right? It's you plug this one and another one pops up, and that kind of feels like what they're dealing with right now at the offensive line, and that they don't know, they just don't know what they have in a lot of these, or maybe not a lot of them, but certainly several of these guys.
No doubt about it. We're on with David Boclair with SI.com.
David, what did you think of the 3rd and 2 situations where Derrick Henry didn't get the ball? One he was on the field for, another one he wasn't even on the field for. And I'll ask a second part of that. The fact that he didn't have 30 touches in this game against a team that's the worst per carry against the run this season, and I think in the last 50-plus years.
Yeah, it's I get it, and there were questions about that after the game. There were questions again today about that. I would say, and Todd Downing has taken a ton of heat for that, but I would say it's more an indictment of that offensive line than it is, Todd Downing, and that the coaches don't have the confidence that they can get. They can just hand it to Derrick Henry and get 2 yards anytime they want. That they feel like they need to scheme some different things up and go with some different looks. And Mike Vrabel said today, like he didn't come right out and say it, but basically his answers were, if it's if we're going to throw the ball, or even if there's a chance we're going to throw the ball, because it could have been some check with me calls, for example, where based on the look, it's either going to be a run or pass. He basically was saying that Derrick Henry's not their best option when it comes to pass protection stuff. So they want to they need to keep Tannehill upright as best they can, which, again, going back to the struggles with the offensive line, that's not that's a lot easier said than done right now. I mean, he's been sacked 14 times in the last 3 games, and we keep hearing he's taken too many hits. He's taken too many hits. I mean, Todd Downing is taking a ton of heat, and let's face it, his numbers don't compare at all to Arthur Smith's, in his 2 years on the job. But I would argue that they're playing completely different games from a personnel standpoint and situational standpoint and everything else. I mean, I agree. Todd Downing is not as good as Arthur Smith was, but Arthur Smith's the best I've seen in all the years I've been covering this team. And Todd Downing is afraid of 3rd and long. Like if it's 2nd and 10, you can almost guarantee it's going to be a run, because he's going to try and get it into 3rd and as short as possible at that point. I think Arthur had less fear of 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 9 or whatever it was. But everybody who wants to say all the problems with the scoring and all the problems on the offense this year are directly related to Todd Downing, I think is completely unfair. I think he doesn't have – I don't think he has anywhere near the personnel that Arthur Smith had during his 2 years on the job.
So does that mean you think Downing survives this offseason and we get another crack at it next year?
I do. I do. I don't think Mike Vrabel's a guy who is in a hurry to make staff changes. I think he likes the group he has in place here. I mean, the only thing would be, what is his relationship with Tim Kelly, and what does he think of Tim Kelly as a play caller? Given that Tim Kelly's here, maybe that's the one way I could see that move going. But I don't, if people think it's a foregone conclusion that Todd Downing's getting fired after this season, I would say no to that. It's certainly something that will be up for debate at some point. And who knows, maybe Amy Adams-Strunk puts her foot down and says you will have a different offensive coordinator next year. But I really think the way Mike Vrabel operates, he hasn't given that a moment's thought right now.
David Boclair giving us a few moments thought here on Blaine and Mickey at Boclair Sports.
Well, once the season's over, Boki, whether they make the playoffs or not, I don't think anybody believes they're going to go very far unless they get a lot of luck along the way with other teams. Would you be in a rebuild mode or patchwork mode as far as the team?
That's a really good question, Blaine, and I think I wouldn't go into a full-blown rebuild, but I would be going more in that direction, and largely because what I would do is I would say thank you, Ryan Tannehill. We appreciate it. It's time for you to move on and see what else is out there for you in this league. I think the best thing this team can do right now is go to a quarterback who's on a rookie contract and throw some money at other positions. And while you've got Derrick Henry in the latter part of his prime here, I think you need to take full advantage of that. I think you need to ride with the fact that your defense is good and you could probably make one or two changes there. You reinvest in the offensive line to protect your rookie quarterback, give Derrick Henry a better chance to run, all those sorts of things. I think that's how I do it. I think I would basically remake most of the offensive line, go with Malik Willis at quarterback and see what we can do from there with spending and free agency, with the free agency spending and how quickly that can sort of get this team back on track and playing the kind of football they want.
What was your take from Byard, I guess, lastly for me from his interview? It seemed, frustrated with the 4-game losing streak, but kind of it seemed like he was a little out of character and frustrated in voicing his opinion, immediately after the game.
It's funny. Somebody asked me about Kevin Byard last week, and I said to them, Kevin Byard is in that Blaine Bishop zone now. Byard is where you were, Blaine, in 98, 99, 2000, for example, when you were, you were sure of everything that was going on in the building, and you knew everything there was to know about the defense, and you knew you were one of the baddest men on the field, and that nothing that any offense was going to throw at you was going to surprise you and whatnot, and you were so comfortable with your place in the league and in the locker room that you felt free to talk and send your own messages and do those sorts of things. And I think that's exactly where Kevin Byard is right now. And Byard has been, throughout the last couple of years in particular, he's been a good soldier in terms of delivering the coach's message pretty much at all times. And then, sprinkling that in with his own thoughts and opinions and whatnot. And yesterday felt much more like, I'm going to say what I need to say, what I think I need to say, what I want to say, and that's because he is frustrated and he is angry, and I'm sure he's not the only one, but he's a guy in a comfortable enough position given all he's accomplished and given what he means to this team that he can be honest and just speak his mind, and it does. He reminds me very much right now of you about 20 years or so ago.
I appreciate that, David Boclair from SI.com.
David, great stuff, man. At Boclair Sports, all Titans at SI.com. Always great stuff from you and your team there. Thanks for the time today.
Thank you for having me, boys. Everybody have a happy holidays this week.
You too. Yes, sir. You and your lovely bride. Absolutely. All right. Blaine started the show today, mentioned an underperforming group, one of the biggest reasons why the Titans lost on Sunday. And what were the stats of that group? You will be sad when you hear this. It's Blaine and Mickey.
Ruh-roh.
If you're overdealing with hair loss, here's a thought. Do something about it. Do something about it. Just do something about it. Stop talking about it or thinking about it or, just wasting your time perusing things online or, looking in the mirror and seeing less hair. Go to PAI. Call PAI today, as a matter of fact. They'll take your phone call. They're the best in the business when it comes to helping you keep the hair that you have and get back the hair that you've lost. Here's their number, 615-376-6010. I would challenge you to do this, though. Now, they can help ladies and gentlemen If you're a lady or a gentleman and I'm talking to you and you think, guys, this is me that he's talking to every time he does one of these spots, go to wegrowhair.com. That's their website. On that website, it shows all the different ways that they help people, shows real people and real results. Okay, so go to the website, look at all the videos, read about all the different options, and then call that number that we've already given you, 615-376-6010. Call the number, make an appointment. Let them show you how they can get you right back on track, looking just like you want to look and just like you used to look at PAI. Call them today. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Robert, I got him turned on to a new Queen record that's about 40 years old. He's all in on this.
It's just so good. I didn't even play the beginning of it where they kind of set the stage.
Yes.
So good, man.
I got Robert hooked on, I guess it's almost 50, this Queen record. Lots of old references today on the show. This is a new reference, though.
Oh, yeah.
So we were talking about the wide receivers, and there, I'll use the word performance, but it sadly, it was not much of one against the Chargers. The Titans wide receivers combined. Well, Derrick Henry had 4 for 59 receptions.
He is not a wide receiver.
Chig was 4 for 54 on 5 targets. The wide receivers.
Oh, my.
They combined, they had 11 targets, 6 catches for 32 yards.
32 yards?
That's everybody on the day.
Combined.
All of them combined. Robert Woods, NWI, Racy McMath, who caught 1 for 1 and also got an offensive PI on a pick.
Of passing the football? 32 yards? I don't know anybody going to win a game and your wide receivers only have 32 yards. That's just absurd. And I'm sure they were open at times and the pass protection broke down. So let's be fair to that, but still not that far from it. Let's just double that number. 60 yards? I mean, so, man, that's just horrific. So, that means old Chig and Henry, they better turn it up. I want to see him split Henry out and throw him a pass running a slant or something. Catch it. I want to see one of them cornerbacks tackle him in space like that, running with a head of steam. Boy, they'll be getting out the way so fast.
Blaine, they've been setting it up the whole year because they throw him out there, and then the guy across from him is just like the guy instantly starts paying attention to what's going on away from him. He knows this guy's not going to run a route.
Right, maybe they run a hitch or something, maybe a bubble screen or something over there.
If you could just get your guy far enough away from him that he could just smoke screen where you
boom, yes.
And there's his 4 steps to the guy who's playing off of him, thinking this guy's never going to get the ball. Him one-on-one, maybe that gets something done. They've been setting it up for, 15 games?
Yeah, well, it's set up
14.
Now. Let's go. Let's see what's up. Because if he can catch in some space and make things happen. I know if I'm a cornerback, I don't want to tackle that guy nowhere near out here, boy. I'll tie shoestrings together, though. That's what I learned from the cornerback. Hey, man, just tie shoestrings, man. I'm coming. So, yeah, that's, man, that I don't think I've ever seen a stat like that. 30, what'd you say, how many yards?
6 for 32.
The wide receivers, that's all they had combined.
All of them.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to say they 60 yards.
If they'd had 60 yards,
because they was open,
Titans
I'm
might have
sure
won the
they
game.
got sacked or something, but, man, that's unheard of in this. Yeah, that is discouraging. I don't know what's worse, that or the offensive line. And it shows you how the offensive line dictates everything else.
Yep.
Oh, Derek got over 100 though. That's his 7th time.
Mickey's moneymakers
No,
got
I
that
didn't win either. I didn't have my parlay. I lost. The Jags won.
Over receiving, over rushing. Austin Eckler, anytime touchdown. I was on fire. Then you talked me into the scoring over, and we totally screwed the pooch on that.
Yeah. So good. Mickey's moneymakers. You want to make some money? Mickey is your guy.
There you go. But we can't help you anymore today because we got to go. It's time for 3HL. They got you the rest of the way home.
No doubt about it. But in the meantime.
In between time.
Peace.